Okay, everybody. Hooray! Thank you very much for your patience. I'm just going to move over here a little bit. Weirdly, I sort of connect I can see the camera connects through my phone. And in fact, I might turn this light a little bit. And for some reason, it's a blank screen on my phone, which I thought then the picture wasn't coming through, if that makes sense. But the picture is coming through. So it's all fine. Everybody can see me. Everybody can hear me. All that good stuff. It's just where it's transmitting through my phone, it's saying that there is no picture. But here we are. I think everybody can see me. I just moved that light back a little bit more. Brilliant. Good. Some of you are just catching the live for the first time. So that is amazing. I want to say hi to everybody. Incredible. This is so much fun to do this every single week. I know I had a little pause, una pausa last week. But even when I take pauses, I'm discovering more and more. And today, thank you so much. It's quite cold again in here. Remember, here at Mapperton, especially in the the whole house is historical, but the historical part of the house that has sort of the wood paneling, and the pictures, we have to just always hat. Remember, 60%, they say that 60% of your body heat comes out of your head. So I feel much warmer when I wear a hat. So thank you all. So fun to have so many of you live. It's been a brilliant week of discovery. I just want to let you know, I see all of the chat, and I also watch this afterwards. And when those of you who are joining later, I keep the live chat replay on the right, because I think for all of us to do this together as a community, it's really important to see what others are saying, or discoveries, or just even saying hi, and to see where everybody's tuning in from around the world, which is so, so, so exciting. Right, gosh, where do I begin? I think I'm going to begin with the biggest discovery yet, and that happened today. I was not planning for this. It's unbelievable how this happened. So I'm not sure if on one of the streams a few weeks ago, or if it was something that I was reading around, but I do know that somewhere earlier on in Alberta's life, when she was younger, and it was when I was looking at letters from when her mother and her father, her biological father, were still married. Remember, her biological father died when she was 17. And I know in one of the letters, there was a mention, get this everybody, a mention that a portrait was painted of Alberta, and in 1884. And I remember thinking, oh, it's a real shame. I wish I could have had that portrait. It would have been really nice to, where is that portrait? And floating around the house, there is, and I will bring it out one of these days, but it's not valuable or anything. But in one of sort of the sort of back rooms, there's a scanned sort of copy, if you like, of Alberta and her brother Hollister together, but it's not a proper painting, right? It's just somebody photocopied, if you like, this, whatever that painting was. But, okay, here is the but, everybody. It's beyond so exciting. And I do love it that you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. There's so many of you joining from like all over the world, all over America. Incredible, just awesome. So if you're just tuning in, please make sure that you're saying where you're tuning in from. It's really important for me just to see, because I love seeing where you're tuning in from. But also when people watch this back, they can also see, we're like, gosh, this is really a global live stream that we're all kind of tuning in and discovering Alberta together. So I remember my memory jogged. All of a sudden, I went into a room in the house where we kind of store paintings that aren't hung on the walls, and because we're not sure where they're going to go, or maybe we're not even sure who they are. It's not that many paintings, by the way. Maybe it's just sort of like, I don't know, a half a dozen. So 6 to 8. And I went into this room today because we're renovating this room, not the Muniment room, but another small room. And all of a sudden, it's right behind me. I looked at this painting and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Alberta. And I was like, I think this is the 1884 painting. And then when I looked on the back, I could see that it had been sort of restored or whatever through her, by her great granddaughter. So let me just backtrack here. Alberta had 4 children. So we know that the eldest, Victor, is my husband's grandfather, right? Then she had number 2, Drogo. He died during the Second World War. Then she had 3, and this is where it comes in, number 3, Faith. And Faith, she named her daughter Faith. Well, that was not very common. Think about that in sort of the early 20th century to name your child Faith. She named her daughter Faith because of Alberta's strong faith. And Alberta's daughter Faith had 1 daughter. That daughter had a daughter, and this was and we're friends with her. She's like a distant cousin, but she lives around us. And so that's how I knew, because on the back, it kind of tells you where it was restored and things like that. That's how I knew that it was definitely Alberta's portrait when she was a young girl. And so, yes, everybody, she will be hung in the Muniment room. Can you believe it? So here it is. You guys are the first to see this. It's in a beautiful frame, an absolutely beautiful frame. And I'm just going to be super careful, actually. I'm just going to move my chair around. So move the chair around here. I have another surprise for you all as well. It's in this big black box, which is very exciting. So this is the discovery. I mean, it's big, everybody. It is big. So hopefully you can see. I'm just going to wait till I can see it. And yes, there we go. It's up. So I'm going to be super careful with it. But hopefully you can see. I would like to zoom in. Might be a bit tricky. I might take the camera over here, but I'm just going to turn that so you can see. So she's holding a ball, and I'm just going to be super careful here. There we go. And there we are, everybody. This is the painting that I read about in one of the letters, 1884. And so I'm 99.9% certain that this is Alberta from my research and this painting that was done. So I feel reasonably confident, in fact, very, very confident that this is a late 19th century painting. I'm just going to turn it this way. Hold on, everybody. There we go. Is that better? For the camera. What's everybody saying? Yeah. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So yes, beautiful find, amazing. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable of Alberta as a lovely young girl. And I think that is what is just so absolutely extraordinary. I mean, absolutely extraordinary. So this will be hung in, I know it's beautifully done, will be hung in the Muniment room. In fact, when I finish this live stream, I'm going to bubble wrap it to keep it safe and put it in the Muniment room. But when I say, I mean, literally everybody, I am 99.9% certain that this is Alberta. And the reason I also know this is because, remember I told you that there was a smaller sort of copy of a painting that I found with, and I'll bring that out the next time, of her and Hollister. And it's the exact same. Again, you can see the auburn hair color here. She's got auburn hair. She has her blue eyes. And the hairstyle there is very, very similar to the hairstyle that she had when she was in a portrait with Hollister. I mean, and it actually, when I look at her, that is Alberta, because I can tell by the eyes. It's truly wonderful for me, because I always hoped that I could find more paintings of her, or at least pictures, if you like, of her at a young age. But to be able to discover this is unbelievable. I mean, it really is unbelievable, and I'm so excited. And it's the eyes that give it away for me. You know, it's the auburn hair and the blue eyes. I mean, it's Alberta. So what age would Alberta be in that portrait? So from what my letter said, I know that there was a portrait of her painted when she was in 1884, and that would have made her 7 years old. So I had discovered that letter that a portrait had been painted of Alberta in 1884, and that was when she was 7. And I remember reading that thinking, wonder where that painting is. No idea. And lo and behold, there is a little 7-year-old girl right there, Alberta. I mean, it's really astounding that I saw this today, everybody, the day that I'm doing the live. You guys all bring good luck. The day that I'm coming on live, I was not looking for this. I was looking for something else. And I thought, oh my goodness, we will get it confirmed. I know somebody who can confirm it, but I'm pretty, I mean, I'm because of what's on the back, I'm pretty sure it's Alberta. So when I say pretty sure, like I'm like 99.9%. It would blow me away if it wasn't Alberta. It just is. And it's the same nose, everything. So when I look at Alberta here, and here I can see same nose. This is harder for you to see. It's a black and white, but 100%. And she had that sort of auburn hair. So it's amazing. Yeah, the resemblance actually is, everybody, quite uncanny. Really unbelievable. So that has been my huge find. Someone said, I missed where you found the portrait. Just in a small room in the house where we just have paintings have sort of been stored there because we don't have enough, we have enough paintings already hung, if that makes sense. And it's not that many. There's probably like half a dozen to 8. It's not like you have to trawl through it. It's literally one small room and they're sort of stacked up. And I went in there today because we're going to renovate that room and make it into a bathroom. And that's where we just have these 6 to 8 paintings. And I just happened to just go in there today and look, and it's unbelievable. It's just, it's crazy. So it's really, really exciting. So that's number one, what I wanted to share with you. It's like I can't stop looking at her because I cannot believe that I found her. And it's not that I haven't seen this painting before. So I have actually seen this painting before in that same room, but never really questioning who it was, thinking it was just a distant relative. But now what's on the back and what's here makes complete and utter sense. So guess what, everybody? She will be going into the Munimit room alongside the first Earl of Sandwich. And I think that's a kind of a beautiful thing. You know, the first Earl of Sandwich who sort of started this family, or not sort of, who did start this family. And then you have a beautiful painting of Alberta. So I do want to do some research and find out who painted this of Alberta. And so I will do that research to find out who the artist was, definitely. And I think it is in one of the letters here. My plan is this evening and tonight and tomorrow morning is to go back through the letters and just try to find that one where it was mentioned. It won't be that hard because there's a very good stack of letters that helps me understand a little bit more about her childhood. And of course, here is her diary. And I was looking in here, but the diary that I read the last time started in 1887. And so I think it's a little bit too late. I'm pretty sure from what I read that it was 1884. That it was 1884. So yes, and there's still lots to go through with this diary. I think my husband's phone is dinging over there. Sorry for the noise, everybody. But I've got to, again, I need to go through this, but I don't think she necessarily talked about it in here. So yeah, I'm really happy about that discovery. And what I wanted to show you, and then I've got a pile of books right here. We're going to talk about these books because these have been incredibly helpful. But what I have over here is, everybody, look at this. It's the scanner. So the scanner is here. And right now, the scanner's amazing. It doesn't seem that big. It's not that big. Remember, this is an amazing, great scanner through the fundraising process. So again, I'm not going to open it up now. I would say, the next month, because what I'd really like to do is get the Muniment room refurbished, then set the scanner up, and start to scan the letters that way. So I just want to say thank you so much. So many of you have donated to buy me a cup of coffee, and I'm going to put the link in there. Donna has just purchased 3 cups of coffee. We are nearly at the goal. So I had to set a new goal because of number 1, the Earl of Sandwich painting, and number 2, the more extensive works that need to be done in the Muniment room, because you've seen those photos before. If you haven't seen the photos of the Muniment room and the state that it's in, do check out my link here. There are posts on there, and you can see all the different posts. I'll put the link in there, and from there, you'll be able to see the state of the Muniment room. I had the builder in yesterday. So the builder was in yesterday, and we went through really the bits that need to be done, and in particular looking at the ceiling and the walls. And we've looked at the floor. We know what we're doing with the floor, and Malcolm is here. So many of you know Malcolm. Malcolm is the interior designer that we use for Mapperton and the cottages and the rooms in the house, as this is a grade 1 listed building. So it's of exceptional historical and architectural value, which means that we need to do things the right way. And Malcolm is incredible. And so he is here today at Mapperton. I will have dinner with him. My husband and I will have dinner with him afterwards with my in-laws as well. And tomorrow we will be filming for Mapperton Live a little update on the paint colors that we're going to be looking at, and kind of the color scheme, some fabrics in there. So do make sure you subscribe to Mapperton Live. I will, for those of you on Buy Me a Coffee and those of you who have donated, what I have been doing is I will be taking photos of the paint colors that we're looking at, of some of the samples. I will put that into a post, and as those of you who have donated, you get emails from me updating you about these lives. I also send emails to you about where we are in the fundraising. So we are about $1,600 away from completing all of the fundraising. And you can find out, if you donate 10 cups of coffee, there's, a little gift for you there. If you donate 50, there's a bigger gift for you there. If you donate, and again, any donations are just unbelievably appreciated. So the plan is we've got the builder in. Malcolm has done the designs. We're looking at paint colors and sort of soft furnishings fabrics tomorrow. I will post that on Buy Me a Coffee, so you will get that post as well sent to you, but we're filming that for our YouTube channel. And the other thing is, thank you, Deborah, that's so nice. Good, you have been getting emails with updates, yay, perfect. And I will talk about that, actually, that tapestry behind me, but that's another fundraising project, oh dear. But what I also want to just quickly mention is that I will be looking and asking for some virtual volunteers. And this is where it can get really exciting. So I have interviewed somebody this week who I am definitely going to take on board. In fact, she might be on here as well. She's probably excited when she reads this or when she hears this, but hopefully we can make it work. And she will be helping me with these letters and cataloging them and digitizing them as well. But we know that many of you want to help out as well. And so she and I will be taking those of you, I've already started a folder for those of you who've already said you want to help to volunteer, where we can scan about 10 letters, send them to you, and hopefully you can help to transcribe them, send them back digitally to us, and then we can upload them. Now, luckily, my amazing on the Sturges side, so Alberta's side, Alberta's that's right, hold on, I gotta think about that. Alberta's, because my husband's, that's his great-grandmother, so same thing. So they came to stay over Christmas. His name is Hollister as well. And his wife has really been helping me with finding out more information on how to transcribe. And what she sent me today was incredible, but there's something, a paid subscription to Cortex by AM Digital. And it can capture quite a lot of the letters, and which is incredible. So I gave my cousin, through my husband, one of the letters, and she used this, and she was able to transcribe pretty much nearly 50% of it so that you could make sense with it. There is also the basic iPhone transcription app. It does do a poor job of transcribing, but at least it can create some type of instant format that you can then edit, share with others remotely, and upload. Then there are 2 such apps. So there's the pen to print app, and then there's the handwriting to text recognizer. So you take a photo with your phone of the document you want to transcribe, and then open the app, open the photo in the app, and voila. You get a poor transcription, but at least it's formatted, and then you can sort of cut and paste into email and share it with maybe a transcriber. So this is fantastic. All this information has been, I mean, just absolutely astonishing, really brilliant. So lots of you do want to volunteer, which is fantastic. So what I would say to that is once we start to set up the volunteer virtual program. So it'll be the volunteer virtual program. I have a whole document. It's called the Alberta Research Project. And our general manager here at Mapperton really helps me put this document together. It's clear, it's concise, and it's brilliant. So once we sort of get a little bit more organized with the Munimit room and the refurbishment of the Munimit room and the scanner set up and the storage coming in, we will be reaching out, and we will have a dedicated email address set up that we can then talk back and forth with the in-person volunteer who will be helping me, which is fantastic. Thank you for those of you who are buying more cups of coffee. That is incredible. As soon as we reach this last goal, that is it. We are done with the goal. We have reached it. Thank you. Deborah's just bought 10 cups of coffee. Donna bought earlier. I know that Victoria bought 3 cups of coffee earlier. Just absolutely incredible, you guys. Really, it's astonishing how much support and generosity there is. So I really want to make this a worldwide effort. And this is why I think, especially with technology today, we can do this together. And those of you who are interested in transcribing letters, we will need your help. There are thousands of them. And it is going to be it's fun. And you never know what you'll be transcribing. And it might just be like, oh my gosh, it's like the letter I read the other day that I knew that she had her portrait done in 1884. And some reason that stuck with me. Now I need to go back and find that letter. But it did stick with me, and I am, and it will turn up again. It'll be in the earlier on letters, and in fact, I think it might be, now that I'm looking here, it might be in one of these letters here, because she was very much asking about her father, her biological father, and she was asking some of her friends, her parents' friends, to recount memories around him. And I'm pretty sure that a letter that was written to her was recounting the portrait that her father was really proud to have had hung somewhere. So I'm pretty certain that that is in one of these letters about recounting. So amazing. Oh my gosh, so many of you want to volunteer. That is fantastic. Like I said, we will set up a dedicated email address. But if you're keen right now, I'm happy for you to email office@mattbertin.com. They then go into a folder. I put the email address right there. They go into a folder on my in my email here. So I will have all of your email addresses so that when the time comes to transcribe and we can start to scan these and then immediately send them to you, it'll be super, super easy. Then we can reach out to you, and it's going to be great and amazing and fun. So I'm already halfway through tonight's. Could just go to 45 minutes tonight. So, but I want to talk to you about some books that I have found incredibly helpful, everybody, incredibly helpful. So number one is about Josephine McLeod, so Alberta's aunt that she was very close to. She calls her Jojo sometimes. She calls her Tantine. She was never married, so this was Alberta's mother's sister. And this was about Josephine McLeod and really her mission, the mission that she was involved with Swami Vivekananda. And it's so extraordinary to me to think about that I'm a yoga teacher. You know, yoga is really the hub of everything that I do in my life. And it's fascinating for me to read that Alberta was, reading the Bhagavad Gita. I just read that the other day, that she was reading the Bhagavad Gita. She was very much into her karma yoga, her bhakti yoga, and her jnana yoga. And incredible. So I do know all about these different branches of yoga because, of course, I study them. So in here, there are many, many references to Alberta and really Alberta spending time with Swami Vivekananda. And that leads me to what I'm working on right now for my dissertation is I'm looking at sort of 3 different chapters for now. One chapter will be, of course, about perhaps how the loss of her biological father, I think, affected her later in her life. And I want to understand that relationship because I know that it definitely affected her. I want to understand that relationship. And perhaps that led her towards this path of service and the mission of Swami Vivekananda. And the sort of second chapter, if you like, is really of the path that I've just been finding of this nunhood, which I am getting. Can't access that link, says Blick Report. Sorry. I will put that in again here. So it's about how, I'm definitely stumbling upon it. And so many of you have been so helpful in sending me incredible articles. Sorry, I do say when I'm typing a lot. I'll stop saying that, but when you're concentrating. So I have found letters that really do support my theory that she wanted to have this a nunhood and become a nun. So interesting enough before we get into these next two books. This was written by her half-sister. This is a fantastic book. I found it on eBay. There's a copy swimming around here somewhere, but I didn't, it was £6 on eBay, so I thought I probably better spent time of purchasing it than searching over the many bookcases here. But this is by her half-sister, Frances Leggett. So remember her mother, Betty McLeod, Josephine's sister. Betty married William Sturges. They had 2 children, Alberta and Hollister. William died. Betty remarried Frank Leggett. They had together, Betty and Frank, 1 child, Frances Leggett. And she wrote a book called Late and Soon, and it's really about her parents, Frank Leggett and Betty legate, their transatlantic marriage, but there is so much in here about Alberta, and really interestingly enough about their marriage and gosh, so that is my reading at night. And then I have Josephine was very close to, Josephine, Alberta's aunt, was very close to Sister Nivedita. She was Irish, and she again was a follower of Swami Vivekananda and very close to Alberta. So these letters, all of Sister Nivedita, well, the letters that she kept were then transcribed, and there's 2 volumes. And this is what I want to read to you tonight. So I've gone through and I've highlighted in the back of the book all the mentions, and there are many, many mentions. You can see the orange here of Alberta. And this is, for me in particular, before she met George Montagu. And because volume 2 really starts in 1905, and that's after she married George, and there's not a lot of letters between Alberta and Sister Nivedita, and probably because Alberta's married, she's having children. But prior to that, you can see that Alberta was writing letters, and you can read them, and she was really struggling with what to do. So I want to read you, I'm just going to pull this up on pages, something that I've already typed out, and I think that this is very telling. And this is from one of the letters here. So it is a primary source. It's a letter. These were just literally Sister Nivedita's letters. So chapter 2 is going to be really an understanding of who Swami Vivekananda was, and then the pull that he had with Josephine MacLeod, how Josephine MacLeod, Alberta's aunt, introduced Alberta to Swami Vivekananda, and then the relationship that Alberta had with the Swami, and also Josephine, her aunt, and as well Sister Nivedita. So that's what is, I think, really quite, I mean, it's just incredible. It's quite telling. So I'm just pulling it up right here. And one of the letters was written in 1904. So this is, she hadn't met George yet. She met George in May 1905 and then married George Montagu in July 1905. So it was quick. Thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca just bought 10 cups. Thank you so much. We are so close to hitting the goal, you guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So what she writes is in 1904, Sister Nivedita writes to Josephine MacLeod, Alberta's aunt, and says this: if she, Alberta Sturges, ever goes into a convent, as for her own sake I hope she might, what a marvelous breadths of knowledge and experience she will take in with her. So it already is establishing that Alberta is thinking about going into a convent. Yes? Now, further down, same year, 1904, this was from Sister Nivedita to Alberta Sturges. And hear me out and just sort of grab a cup of tea while I read this. It's about 6 paragraphs. Why, dear Alberta, you could not change your master for him whom the Indian woman name is. Every world and custom, every discovery and prepossession of your life makes you a Christian, and correspondingly, every moment here makes of one born to it something which is named differently. That is all. Christianity, the Christian experience, is the education of the soul. You must go to the school whose doors are open to you, or remain unschooled. You need more than crumbs, though they fall from the master's own table. Without your own experience, your own master, you may feel and be orphaned, starved, and homeless. Why, dear Alberta, if you want to learn the Indian woman's virtues, you have but to worship the Blessed Virgin. You cannot drink too deep of the cup of Catholicism, then always saving and accepting its exclusion of all others. And yet, even this is essential to the soul. Subjectively, one must grow strong in the belief that this alone is true for me, but one can even begin to understand how true for another is something else. But you know all this as well as I do, and or far better. Oh, how glad I am that you have met this wonderful, hear me out here, Father Powell. So she's clearly thinking of going into Catholicism, Catholic nun, wonderful Powell, and that he has helped you. How real, how deep, how intimate is the relation of the Christian priest to the soul of his spiritual child. For instance, but what a Catholic nun, if you become one, what do you think? Will your mind and heart be just the same as that of some other who believes blindly, without thought, without sympathy? One who has never seen what you have seen, never known the things that you cannot forget. Never, dear Alberta. The whole universe is my wager to the contrary, but the whole thing. Take the discipline, follow the path. To me, it has always seemed that your feet were on it, and still it will be different. You will carry in new light, new life. You, and such as you, are the hopes of the church. Pour all your treasure at her feet. Empty your very blood into her veins. It is well. She gives you a home and a mode of life, but you carry to her the life itself. Father Powell has spirituality, and his "Be still and know that I am God" rings with it. That is why you have needed him so badly. And surely that has been the use of these years of barrenness and unrest. And then she says, "For I always feel like an exiled and repudiated child of the church, of the Catholic Church. And she, in my eyes, so unspeakably great and blessed, laden with all that the future has to give the West. I think you know how my intellectual life of many, many years might be summed up as a wild longing to be restored to her, to the church, combined with a hopeless inability to subscribe to the doctrine of the objective and exclusive truth of her creeds. And then came Swami and gave me everything, Swami Vivekananda, everything that I had longed for, even the ideal of the nun, and with it the burning love of truth, but shone like a star above him and made him the hope and power of the modern as of old. But since then, no priest, no one has been able to include me or endorse my life. And for that, I have been often sad. Yet I can see how the refusal to indulge myself in a submission that could not be perfect was really a long austerity, preparing me for the light that was to come, Swami. And I am so thankful. That was my purgatory, even as these 4 years have been yours." So purgatory, she's talking about these past 4 years, sort of from 1900 to 1904, that Alberta's struggling with what she wants to do. And then it says, "I can quite understand Father Powell is saying that letters lead to misunderstanding. After all, we are in opposite or at least different camps." So Sister Nivedita is in a different camp of, she follows Swami Vivekananda's sort of service and mission, and Father Powell is of the Catholic Church. It says, and then it says here, she says, "How beautiful these traditional words of Christ," and she quotes, "And when you have wondered, you have known the kingdom of heaven." So Alberta had clearly written that in a letter to Sister Nivedita, and then Sister Nivedita writes, "Where did you find them? And how beautiful the poem. Who is it? God and woman. It is a wonderful note. Something like that was the great life we have seen." So it's really, really interesting. That came from volume 1 here. And again, I've just scratched the surface, everybody. Can you see the orange? There are so many different letters, and these are the years that I really want to draw in. This, from the time she met Swami Vivekananda, which clearly opened up her eyes to a life of service and perhaps going even deeper than that, a life of as a nun and meeting Father Powell. I need to be able to find some more of those letters, and I suspect there will be some more letters that I'll find between Alberta and Father Powell and this. Now, I also do want to let you know that I have found this out. Number one, George, her husband, was engaged right before Alberta and George were engaged. That is true. So somebody has sent me another article. You guys are incredible. I think it might have been Deborah, so thank you. An article on George's fiance running off and marrying somebody else. So we do know that he was engaged beforehand, and it was quite sort of shocking that he ran off, or that his fiance, and I'm going to tell you who his fiance was. 1 second, because it's quite extraordinary. I'm just going to pull it up. Here it is. Ready? So this was from Deborah, so thank you so much. I'm just going to let you know. And I believe that this was, again, 1904. It says, Lord Alfred, it talks about the marriage arranged between Mr. George Charles Montague, that's who Alberta ended up marrying, and Miss Custance will not occur. And this was in March 1904. Lord Alfred Douglas was married to Miss Olive Constance, who obviously was engaged to George, on Tuesday at St. George's Church, Hanover Square. The marriage was extremely quiet. Whether or not he had been forewarned that he was to be thrown over, George Charles Montague is bravely bearing up under the blow and devoting himself to his parliamentary work, refusing to say a word about the sudden upset of his matrimonial plans. And it says, but one explanation has been offered so far, and that is that the new Lady Douglas, his ex-fiancée, herself a literary person, created a stir in literary circles, has found her affinity in Lord Alfred, who lately has been producing some weak imitations of Oscar Wilde's poetry. And so it says that there was a friendship that was where he met Miss Custance, but it wasn't anything else wasn't known about that, but until the announcement that they had been married today, and that's when everybody discovered that she had dumped George Montague. So that's very interesting. And secondly, what I have uncovered is that when Alberta accepted the engagement proposal from George Montague in May, her stepfather, Frank Leggett, sailed on over for, the parties, the congratulations. And when he left to go back to America, Alberta had called off the marriage. When he then arrived back in America, several weeks later, because however long it took to sail across, the engagement was back on. The marriage was back on. So Alberta was clearly having cold feet and had called off the engagement in May. So when her stepfather left to sail back to America, she was not engaged anymore. So it just goes to show you that there was really, I think, an internal struggle happening with Alberta on what the path she wanted to take in life. But I think perhaps it was her mother, who was a social climber here in Europe, not in America. That is Betty McLeod and Frances Leggett, Betty and Frank Leggett's daughter, half-sister to Alberta, writes about this issue about her mother, and of course then Alberta's mother, really wanting to be the life of the party and be invited to every sort of, high society dinner, ball in Paris and in London. And one way that she was able to get those invites would be, of course, if her daughter had married into nobility. And so that third chapter that I will be writing about will be looking at that relationship that perhaps existed between, I'm not sure yet, but I'm getting closer to that, between Alberta's mother, Betty, and Alberta herself, and how Alberta sacrificed her own happiness and path in order to allow her mother to have happiness. And I think that's quite sad. I think that is actually really, really quite sad. But again, not sure yet. Lots more to discover. And that's what's so exciting about this. It is the entire process is just so exciting. And I just want to say, someone else has just bought 3 coffees. Thank you. And you wrote, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited too. And oh my gosh, we've got Nora has bought a coffee. Thank you so much. Peter has bought 10 cups of coffee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Rebecca has bought 10 as well. Milagra has bought a coffee. You guys are incredible. And I've got your, thank you, Amy. I've got your notice here. Some people have trouble commenting on YouTube, and sometimes you have to set up an account on YouTube. So if you are a patron, you can send it through that as well. So I'm just going to go through the goal one more time. And I will be back here next week. And I'm filming next week for American Viscountess. And we're filming at amazing locations here in Dorset. But I might just see if our series director, Victoria, would like to come on with me as well. And we might just sort of read some letters and look at this. She might say no. That's okay, Victoria, if you're watching this. But I might bring Victoria on, and we might just have a little chat about sort of what we've been filming for the YouTube channel, American Viscountess, because Victoria will be here next week at Mapperton. And I think that this is, you know, the wonderful thing about YouTube that's different from traditional telly is developing and being able to create these incredible communities. So with Victoria coming here next week and filming, you know, and filming what we are in American Viscountess, filming at these historic houses, we can have a little chat about that, but we can also explore more about Alberta, because we have done a pilot episode on YouTube, American Viscountess YouTube, around Alberta with my father-in-law that we will be sharing with you very soon. And Victoria scripted and directed, when I say scripted, loosely scripted, and did the research around it and directed my father-in-law and I on that. And so it'd be really fascinating to have her here as well. And I think many of you might have questions for her. So we might open up next week, if you all would be interested in that, and having Victoria come on live and open it up to questions about filming for American Viscountess and really looking into more of Alberta. And exactly. Yes, exactly. Kathleen, Lord Alfred Douglas was Oscar Wilde's lover. Yeah, that's exactly right. Isn't that incredible? So his wife was engaged to George Montagu, and their marriage lasted. I mean, it was very, very much up and down, living apart, quite tumultuous, but they ended up somehow making it work. Oh, people are writing Victoria's fabulous. Yes, please. And so I don't want to put any pressure under her, and Victoria might be watching now. But you know, I think that would be quite fun to bring her in for part of it. Yes, people are saying they'd love to meet Victoria virtually. And I think this is what's incredible about this community, is getting to know us and the team and the small team, and why we're filming these at these incredible historic houses in it, so that we can all celebrate together and preserve, you know, this part of England's heritage, because it's quite extraordinary. And Victoria and I have big plans for Alberta. I can't say what, but there's more than just a dissertation that's definitely going to happen. So what I just want to fill you in on really quickly, everybody, before I sign off, is the Buy Me Cup of Coffee and where we are in the goal, because I think that is I just got to log in. I think that's really important. And I will try to find out, everybody, this painting and who painted it. And it is in the letter. So it is in the letter, everybody, who painted it. So I know that. And in fact, I might stay up all night tonight. You know, it's like when you read that letter, you're like, why didn't I write that down? And it's because I thought I'll never be able to find that painting. So everybody, this is so exciting. We are at, let me go to the page. We are 90% of the goal. We just have 10% left to go. We are at 90% of the final goal, and that is it. So do check out buymeacoffee.com/Julie J. Montague, and you can see, depending on how many cups you buy, what you get for those cups. But yes, brilliant, everybody. I love it that you're all chatting amongst yourself. And remember, I go through this, the chat afterwards, because so many of you have, just so lovely to hear how many people are really interested in what we're doing. And I want to just say a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in and week out, for your incredible support, your generosity, and not just your not just the fundraising process, but your generosity in your time, your generosity in, for many of you, the emails that you've been sending me on the articles, and just really your generosity in being so involved. And that means so, so much to me. So it means a huge amount. And I think that, you know, I want to make this global. I want to get people talking about this project, on how research can be expanded to include so many people around the world who have interest. And I always, and the one thing I'm going to leave you with is, well, I'm going to leave you with two things. Number one, a yoga saying. What I always say about yoga is a healthy spine, a healthy life. So as long as we're making sure that we keep our spines, I know that's completely off topic, but you know, keeping your spines healthy will keep you a healthy life. But I also think the other sort of aspect around a healthy life are projects. So for me, projects are include a healthy life, because projects keep this brain working. We are the only people who can create our own happiness. No one else can make us happy. Only by doing the things that we love, that can we create our own happiness. And that is true. And I do think that one of the elements of life are projects, and immersing ourselves in projects that we love in return can create happiness. And I think so for many of you here who are tuning in the live and donating your time, your energy, your research time, and donating towards the fundraising, it helps to, these projects keep us all connected, and connection and community also creates happiness from within. So that is my spiel for this evening, but I just want to say thank you so much. So there will be, oh, thank you, Maggie. Oh my goodness. Maggie has bought 7 cups, and wow, Naoki has bought 50. You all are incredible. And remember, depending on whatever you buy, all of it means so, so much to me. No more, no less, depending on the amount. It all means an incredible amount. It goes towards what we're doing here, this big project. And once we get the scanner going and we meet the goal, then we will be, for those of you sending out the American Viscountess pen and pad of paper and keychain and the digital scan letter of Alberta and the really cool I helped make it happen certificates, and of course when the Muniment Room gets finished, the plaque that will go on there as well for some of you. So you're all, just know that no matter how much you donate, whether that's your time or money, it means an enormous amount. And really, this room will be, you know, it will be the spirit of all of you in there. And that's what's so incredible. And I think I was meant to find Alberta today before this live. And definitely she wanted to be found, because I think she's a part of it as well. And with that said, it's 6 o'clock here in the UK, here in England, and I'm going to sign off and make supper because I have guests here. I've got Malcolm here because we are looking at the Muniment room tomorrow morning. And again, those of you who are on Buy Me a Coffee, I will be taking photos and putting in a post and then emailing you that as well. Brilliant, everybody. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and whenever you watch this. And I will see you all back here next week. Bye, everybody, and bye from Alberta.